In the build-up from the Springboks. Maru will now go wide for Corby. What magic can he create? Well, he can create a try!
Hi guys, welcome to the Rugby Digest podcast. This is our World Cup Roundup. Just to be entirely clear for first-time listeners, this podcast is literally all about the fucking rugby. We love our game, we love to talk about the game, and we just generally love our fucking rugby. So I'm Chelsea, and with me I have Zubair and Yakub.
Hey guys.
Hi guys.
And this week we decided to put a bit more of a structure in place. So up front, we're going to be covering the fixtures of the last week, referring inconsistencies that we've seen coming out time and time again, and then what we're looking forward to with the last round of the group stages. So guys, kicking it off, fixtures of the last week, noteworthy performances.
Cool. Shall we start with the 49-3 win from the Bucks?
Yeah, it was very clinical. Probably the most clinical performance we've had at this World Cup. From minute one, the intensity was up, which was impressive to see. And we held that the intensity all the way throughout the game. So the players looked hungry, and if anything, we're building up really strongly coming up towards the back end of this tournament.
I agree. I think we looked great. To be honest though, I do think Italy are a lot worse than everybody thinks or thought they were, at least. I mean, and obviously the red card didn't help their cause. But yeah, like you were saying, from minute one, I think we were in control of that game.
There was no ways we were losing that game. Surprisingly, I came in a bit nervous, and I probably wasn't the only Springbok fan watching that game at the start at least, and there were a bit of nerves because we've lost to Italy relatively recently in 2016. So yeah, but as soon as we got out there, just from the hits that we were making right from the kickoff, you could see the boys were up, and there was no ways we were going to lose it.
How many times did we hit them back from like 5
Almost
meters
every
out
time.
all the way outside of our 22? It was amazing to watch. I was thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, players were coming forward and making hits. And we talked about it. When our intensity is up, no team can stop our physicality.
Can we talk about that boy, Cheslin Colby, though?
Is he the best player on the planet?
Nick Mallett's favourite at the moment.
Is he the best player on the planet?
He
though?
genuinely could be. There's no facet of his game that's a weakness.
Yeah, like his eyeballs, under the eyeball, he's probably the most solid player in our team, which is crazy.
His second try when he took the ball instead of their eighth man,
Yes,
just like
crazy
he said,
say.
it was just to start off the move was sensational.
Yeah, he's doing everything. He didn't miss a tackle on the weekend as well.
Plus hitting Oaks backwards.
He got a tackle try assist basically at the end for RG,
Oh yeah,
where he tackled the dude.
and then the dude threw it backwards to RG basically.
Yeah. Shall we go to the main incident of the game?
The Dwayne takedown.
Yeah, the Dwayne takedown. What?
That was so dirty. I don't know how they both weren't carded. Firstly, I don't know what they were looking at, how they decided to
Also-
single out the number one.
How unsportsmanly.
It makes no sense because nobody does that shit.
And
It's
they had a
anymore,
penalty
like-
5 meters out from our try line. Why are you doing that? In such a big game. It was only, what was the score? 17-3
at the time. It was just after half time, 5 meters out with advantage. It was one of the stupidest players I've ever seen on a rugby field. It was a complete brain fade.
And also speaks
yeah.
to like ill discipline.
I think it's more out of frustration because the Springboks were fucking destroying them. Like, they had no answers. They were going backwards all the time. It didn't look like they were going to score. Even though they were 5 meters out, they would have backed us to defend anything.
Maybe
They
give
threw
away a
at us.
penalty and they take 3 points.
They actually didn't take the points where they
Often,
could have in the
yeah.
first half. I thought at 17-3 down, they had a couple of shots
14-3, I think.
where they could have taken the points. And yeah, I think in these games you have to take the points, man. It's just the Springboks versus the All Blacks, and the score is 17-3. We're taking the points there. There's still a long way to go.
Definitely.
You build an innings, and they kind of got frustrated. It boiled over in that moment, and yeah, game over from there.
Yeah,
Springboks ran
it
up
was,
a
but
score.
Great performance, great all-round performance.
What other standout players were there?
Players or games?
Other standout players in the Bok game.
I thought it was good to see Lewis starting. I think
Yes.
that's definitely our lock combination for the
It
rest
looks
of the World
like
Cup.
it now because they're playing. Yeah, it looks like Mustard and RG are going to be the two attackers now.
Also showing like Lewis showed some serious leadership on the field, and I also think there was that quiet, calm collectedness about him. Whereas usually, like, you get up in the heat of the moment, he was like calming other guys down, especially during the Dwayne moment.
Yes.
Which was quite nice to see.
Yeah.
It was, and I'm just loving the physicality, man. I rate Mustard. He hasn't done anything wrong, but Lewitt will get us over the gain line 100 times out of 100, whereas Mustard will get you over the gain line 90 or 80 times out of 100. He wins collisions and he gets that extra meters after contact that Mustard just doesn't get. Adds a different dimension.
And he's just as good in the line out, just
If
as
not
good at
better.
stealing. Yeah.
At the last World Cup, or in 2015, he was SA Player of the Year. So it shows how good he is at his best. He is possibly our best lock.
Great to have him back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, also, I mean, at least Dwayne is okay. We saw on Instagram, he put up a post saying he's fine. So that's a
plus. And Colby, who went
Yeah.
off early or late on, I think with like a minute to go.
And we were down to 14. Well, it was 14. But anyway, other standout fixtures from the week. Shall we talk about the
Which
the
one?
big one, the England-Argentina?
That was just depressing all the way through.
Yeah, we can.
There was hope. There was definite hope.
I was excited for the game.
Oh, completely. I mean,
I
otherwise
was
we
like
wouldn't have
actually
watched
super
it.
amped. Like Saturday morning, building up nicely.
Yeah, I mean, you guys made a mission to go and see it.
No,
And
we
the-
did. We
and
made serious
yeah.
missions to go see it, but it just wasn't worth the mission at the end of the day.
Once
They-
the red card happened,
Yeah, Argentina fell apart, and I actually thought
Lavanini, guys.
I know we all know.
Everybody knows.
He's a walking yellow at least. But he's
He's a
actually
monster,
surprisingly been like relatively well disciplined over the last 2 seasons for the Jags. But we also know that what he's capable of.
It's the passion.
He's the most guarded player in
yeah, but
Argentinian history.
the problem
Yes.
is I don't know whether it was a fair red that was given. That, as people have said, he is a massive unit of a man. For him to have even attempted to have bent going down into that tackle to make it seem like
Yes.
Look,
he wasn't going
Owen-
for a high tackle, it's a bloody nightmare. The man's a monster.
Yeah.
Also, Owen Farrell he's going down into that challenge.
Exactly.
He's going it's sideways
He
and
dropped his
falling.
shoulder.
You know,
He is. I
like
agree.
what are you meant to do as a player? I
By
understand
the
go
letter of the
lower.
law and the way they're blowing it.
It was correct.
It's a red card. But I think
Context,
and a lot of
I
people
think
have
context
spoken
is
about
everything.
this whole thing about red cards specifically and whether there should be a red card in rugby because it kills the contest. And I think this was the first time. I always thought there's always a place for a red card, which I still think there is. But in these situations where it's a play in the game, like somebody made one mistake and it kind of sets the outcome of
A
the
mistake that's so
entire game,
marginal.
which is part of the game. It's not like it was a dangerous hit where he only shouldered him. If we compare the red card from the USA game,
Which was a clear-
also on Farrell, where it was just a straight shoulder off the ball, it's not the same thing, but it's getting the same punishment, and if not worse for Argentina, because Lavanini clearly wrapped his arms. He was in trying to make a legitimate tackle. It wasn't a act of like serious foul play for me.
And I don't feel like he went particularly high either. It was just the way Farrell moved going into the challenge.
We're talking split seconds here, where a player, if he just is a little bit more upright, it's the perfect hit. You hit him ball on and everything.
He's going backwards 2 meters, you
It
know?
was a simple angle change that changed the outcome. That was literally it.
I would love to see maybe only serious acts of foul play. So something like the Italian red card, where
But I mean that we can
there
bring
was a tip tackle onto the
that we
head,
can bring
Yeah.
up on
or
the,
a
the next
stiff
point.
arm shoulder. But yeah, in the end, it just killed the whole game. England were always going to win once that red card happened in the 16th
Yeah.
minute.
No, sad. I mean, I do think that Argentina still put, for all it was worth, they really tried to come back on that one. It did start to get a bit scrappy, and I mean, Cheers, Argentina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a chance. Once that red card happened,
And you knew they were already like
Yep.
under the pump with England's back with 15 men. So
Yeah.
once they went down a man in the forwards, the game was over.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure what to think of England. People are talking them up as favourites now, but they haven't been tested yet.
I still don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are. But I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, we'll see against France.
They're playing France this
this
week.
week,
But then
anyway.
again, France haven't been great either.
They haven't been consistent. But anyway, other fixtures. So France beat USA in this round, 33-9.
Not convincing. Second
wasn't-
half, couple of late tries.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Got the bonus point they needed.
Yeah. And then New Zealand were just New Zealand against Canada,
Getting
63-0.
some nice bonus points up in there.
And Fiji, I mean, they put in a convincing performance against Georgia, 45-10. Ireland beating Russia, but this was another one of those games, like we said, where the team just is playing for the bonus point, not trying to overexert themselves, 35-0. And yeah, Australia beating Uruguay, 45-10.
And nice that the Japanese are keeping it up on their winning streak, coming in 38-19 to Samoa.
That was quite a big game as well for
Yeah.
Japan. And
Huge
again,
performance.
And also massive points on the board by Japan.
they snuck the bonus point in 4 minutes after the hooter, so they
The
were gunning
16th
for it.
man, guys.
Exactly, the fans are coming out strong, and Japan are only getting stronger, it seems.
It's working for them. And then last game of the round, New Zealand, Canada. Obviously, New Zealand going in for the bonus points and leaving nothing up to Canada.
I don't know. Sorry, I think you got confused there. It's New Zealand
It was the
played
France
Namibia.
Tonga
Yeah.
as well.
So New Zealand actually played Namibia.
Yeah.
And yeah, they won 71-9. So that was yesterday morning. And then France, that was a good watch yesterday. France against Tonga. I thought Tonga were going to potentially sneak that win later. Later on in the game.
Yeah.
It was quite tight.
Exactly, France didn't look good at all. Surprisingly, Tonga, again, like in 2011, could have snuck that game. France is back, eh? Or is Tonga's back just beastly?
Tonga
Because
are a
they
lot
put up
better
a fight
than
against all the
Yeah.
tier 1 nations they face.
the upfront battle is where they can compete. You know, I wouldn't say that their backs have anything special, but
Their line-out sucked, but their scrum was so strong. They pushed France back and won a few penalties, which was very surprising. But then again, France just sucked, man. In the first half, they should have been 40-0 up.
how many
And
chances?
then, I mean, Tonga score with the last play of the first half, and then it's anybody's game from there. France nearly lost that game, eh? It was...
Well, 23-21.
They were lucky.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to the upcoming fixtures?
Well, no, I think more importantly, and a matter to be addressed, is the constant reffing inconsistencies.
Are we going to go through this with which games in mind? What are the incidents you want to talk about?
I mean, we spoke about the Springboks.
I mean,
already, of
is there a
course.
more clear-cut
Red
red
card.
card than that? Both players should have been sent off, so I didn't have a problem with that. But again, both players have subsequently been banned for 3 weeks. How is the ref with the replays and the TMO not sending both of those players off? Literally,
Straight
what
up.
is the excuse
Exactly.
for those players, for both of them not to have been sent off?
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing at the time how clearly the other guy, not even the number
Yes,
one,
the number 17.
the number 17 actually tips him
Lifted the
over
legs.
and then drives him into the ground.
And he played for the rest of the game,
Yeah.
basically, which makes no sense. And both of them have gotten bans. Also, so their bans are the same. Basically all the players have gotten a 3-week ban so far, which was 6 weeks, like brought down to 3
Previously,
weeks because of mitigating factors or whatever, being nice guys, saying sorry, shit like that. How is that the same as a high tackle gone wrong? Like a high tackle where a player is getting, if I look at the Reece Hodge incident earlier against Fiji, he was just in an upright position in the wrong position, and unluckily his shoulder hit the guy in the head. How
Yeah.
is that the same as somebody dumping like neck into the ground with a deliberate action? A high tackle is a part of the game, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's
There'll
just
always be high
mistimed.
tackles.
you can tell if somebody wants to really go high on someone, you know?
Yeah.
They're obviously
Or
trying to bring the...
also leading with the shoulder.
Again, leading with the shoulder is part of the tackle most of the time. It's just you need to show a clear gap. In the Lavanini incident, there was a clear gap. You could see it was just missed time.
Yeah.
And he came in at the wrong height. But he tried to make a legitimate tackle, whereas
I mean,
the
the
red
ref
card...
did tell him you were leading with the shoulder. That was the issue, though.
Yes, but every tackle is leading with the shoulder.
Exactly. I mean, we
So-
played rugby. We know.
But there was a clear gap attempt. So that was a bit of a... yeah.
Look, there's just too many talking points. We just need clarity and consistency. And we're not asking for much, but if the ref's going to blow up something at the start of the game, he should be blowing the same thing up
Thing
at the
all
end
the
Uh,
of the
time.
game.
Agree, but also... all referees should be uniform in the things that they are checking and
It's
what
true,
they are
because-
blowing up.
because you'll
Because
see the
a
French
yellow card
refs
might be
will-
in one game for, let's say, just if you saw the New Zealand game, they got 2 yellow cards for high tackles. Where the one, Nepolalala, it was a clear swinging arm, even though it was low, to the direct contact to the
Dangerous
head,
as well,
which
yeah.
is, by the letter of the law, a straight red card. Whereas he just got
New
yellow.
Zealand, though.
It was a clear swinging arm to the head. The mitigating factor in being low, but I mean
Look,
that is
it's similar to
way more
the
dangerous.
Bowden Barrett fiend on Colby earlier in the tournament, you know, where he just led with his
Nobody
arm
was
and
even talking about that. I mean, yeah.
so
It's
what?
Who knows what the rules are?
It's just, well, that's the sad thing is, we know the rules exist. We know why the rules exist. It's player safety number one, and then it's also just to keep a game in place. But to not have drilled it into players, coaches, and refs prior to the World Cup, so there's at least a learning curve that happens before the big tournament, which is the World Cup, fathoms belief. Like how is stuff being, like, certain rules only been adjusted to now during the World Cup? These guys should have come in and known exactly what they're going to be blown up for. Refs knowing what they're going to blow up for, not guessing.
I agree with you. I think the refs, especially the Northern Hemisphere refs, they're actually just unpredictable at
So
times.
from what I've heard from, I mean, people in the Northern Hemisphere, they have been blowing to these rules for the last year, and we have known in the Southern Hemisphere that these rules have been in place. You know, so I think it was since the beginning of 2018, in terms of the high tackle protocol. Just that our refs do not blow anything, dude. Our refs let anything go. So
So
like
is that because
Southern
we're
Hemisphere
tougher?
refs will literally see a direct shot to the head and play on, dude. Like in Super Rugby, New Zealand teams get away with literally
Everything.
anything.
Forward passes,
So,
match winning.
but now we, from what I've heard, is that like basically only the people within the Southern Hemisphere are confused by this because our referees are not blowing this, and it's kind of causing this.
I think
divide
it's to do
where
with also the style of rugby though, because why I think our refs, for instance, haven't been blowing it up as much is because in the Southern Hemisphere we like a flowing running game of rugby,
Yeah.
whereas in the North they actually enjoy the tight affairs, just winning on penalties all the time.
But they also like to play to the whistle. We will
I mean-
play until the whistle. It's one of those, you keep on blowing a whistle, we don't have a game. It stops, and as you say, it ruins a running rugby. We are a
Ruins
running
the
rugby
game.
brand. Yes,
The
that's
flow
true.
of the
don't
game.
know.
But so does a really bad head injury.
But this is
So-
where like the whole World Rugby thing, should have come in and obviously uniformly set this down, which
And they've been enforcing it.
exactly.
And the
so
only way that they could have enforced it would have been during the Super Rugby season when all Southern Hemisphere teams would have been exposed to it and at least adjusted play. Because let's be fair, the Jags are the Jags. There hasn't been much change. Between the New Zealand teams, Australian teams, and the South African Super Rugby teams, they all make up Australia, the All Blacks, and the Springboks. So had you adjusted the reffing back then to the rules, which were going to be played in the World Cup, these guys would have actually known what was coming.
yeah, after that first week shambles, it
Yeah.
also set everybody on the back foot.
Refs coaches,
Yeah. What-
players.
Again, okay, so what I will say as well
There's
is
a very
that
angry Michael Checker out
Wayne Barnes was actually really good in
there
the
we go.
game, South Africa versus Italy. Outside of missing the second red card, which the TMO can also
Yeah.
advise on because there are 4 of them. Like
Yeah.
he's not the
Literally.
only one who can make that call and be like, dude, can't you see that number 17 is lifting the legs and they should both get red carded? So I will say that he handled the game a lot better.
In general.
Yeah, Nigel Owens yesterday in the game between France and Tonga.
Look, Ben Skeen was the TMO and he got involved on a few occasions as well.
Yeah,
It's
Marius
just
Jonker got involved
confusing,
on the
man.
weekend.
To be honest, he got involved in
But he wants to
fair
get involved in-
instances, though.
Yes,
but
he
those
does.
instances were there. Why are other TMOs not getting involved? Is the real
Let's
question.
have it all the same. I mean, a level playing field. You can't come to one game where Ben Skeen is checking everything. He's actually watching the game. And like we discussed last week, where there's some refs who are only waiting for replays like intermittently while players are down
To
and then
see
calling
incidents.
things up. Like you should be looking at every single rack of every single game.
You see, but then it's also a case
He
of.
should be watching the game. He's got the TV and he's got
It's got like
all the
10
camera
TVs.
angles, man.
But if you are the TMO and there's another ref that's on field, that on field ref that's the man of the day. So as a TMO, you don't want to rain on another man's parade, and you
need
will
to
only
get the
step
right
in
decision.
where you agreed, but you will step in where you see the need for you to step in. You are not the on-field ref. You cannot be constantly chirping in a guy's ear, saying, "Hey, you need to blow that up. You need to blow that up." But same said, a ref cannot wait for a replay or a forced replay in order to make him consider a decision that he should have made.
Yeah.
Look, to be
It's
fair to the
interesting.
refs, there's a lot to take in and a lot going on around you all the time. You need the support from, like, for instance, even touch judges. Some of them, what are you looking at, mate?
Exactly.
Like,
They know.
knock-ons right in front of you,
Yeah.
right in front of your eyes.
Agreed.
What
But,
But
then,
baffles me.
I mean, that's also human vision. Often we see, and it's a bit of a blink and play. So you will see the activity happening, but you won't see something just off to the side. And you can be looking at a crowd and there can be a fight happening and you won't even see that fight because you're checking out that corner of the crowd.
And then if you think about it as well, in the game between Argentina and England, the Lavanini incident was missed initially. I mean, the referee saw it
Yeah.
and said play
The
on. He
TMO
thought it was
actually
fine
went
initially.
backward.
I
Literally,
think it was Marius
Nigel
Jonker.
Owens was probably less than 5 or 10 meters away from the incident and he saw it and said, it's fine. And they played on for a few phases until it came back. So I can understand in those collision incidences
Yeah.
Going back.
because it does happen quickly, and that tackle specifically did happen quite quickly, but missing knock-ons and the forward passes and stuff like that,
But that is unacceptable.
yeah, especially when it's leading to tries, because in some games they'll check it, like in the France game
Yeah,
they disallowed
where
a
the
try.
TMO actually came forward and he said, no,
There
looks
was
like
a
forward
knock-on
try.
earlier.
I mean, a forward pass. There was that forward pass as well where they were straight through.
Well, I can only hope that going into this last round of the group stages, pardon me, the refs actually have their shit together, because these games literally make or break. And if you are the reason why a team can't proceed, and if a team has played fairly, you are the cock block, then serious questions have to be asked here.
Yeah, we passed that point.
Look,
already.
yeah,
the horses
groups,
bolted
this
in the
was-
first week after the Argentina-France game.
Yeah, but you've
And
got
the
a
New
whole-
Zealand-South
but you've
Africa
got,
game.
You've got a new week, you've got a new round. You can go, okay, cool, we've cleaned house, we've got our shit together, let's do this.
Well, hopefully they're going to
Let's
set the
hope so.
tone for the
I hope so.
upcoming fixtures. Anyway, should we move on to that?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we start off this next round of fixtures tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow,
Against Canada.
Tuesday morning.
Oops,
Was
gotta
it-
get my super brew in.
Quarter
Go
past
get the
12.
super brew picks in.
What are we looking
Uh,
for?
I want bonus points, bonus points, bonus points.
I'm interested to see some of these boys have a run out. I'm
Yeah,
keen
Damien
to see
Willemse.
Damien
Damien
Willemse,
Willemse, very
fullback.
excited.
Yeah.
Maybe he can put in a performance, and yeah, you never know.
Yeah, so since the last podcast, Jesse Kriel has gone home with a hamstring injury and Damien Willemse has come into the squad. So he slotted in
Off
straight
the back
into
of injury.
fullback, which is exciting to see. We're going to see Frans Steyn and Damien playing together, which is
Finally, yeah.
quite a
Should be very
powerhouse
nice.
centre pairing. Another interesting one is Nkosi on the left wing.
Yeah.
So is this maybe like a dress rehearsal to see how he can do on the left wing? Potential swap for Mapimpi?
Yeah, I think just because of what we saw in the New Zealand game, I mean, Mapimpi's in the air is not as strong, and it's looking like we're going to be playing a Northern Hemisphere nation or Japan in the knockout. So they're definitely going to test us under the eyeball.
For sure. Everybody's going to test us under the eyeball. That's just the theme of the World Cup. If anything, Japan is seeming like a really dark horse at this stage. The way they're playing and with the 16th man as the crowd. There's someone to worry about. Like, I'm thinking I would actually like to avoid them. I wouldn't mind Ireland. I would take Ireland over playing Japan at this stage, to be honest.
I would as well.
In a sneaky kind of way.
But I would actually, just for the chaos of the World Cup, I'd rather Japan beat Scotland. And yeah, I mean, even if I think they deserve it. And I think it's written in the stars, guys. Let's think it's going to be proper
It's really
pressure.
nice to see the home nation dominate the way they are. Japan backs themselves. That I also think is often an unconsidered factor, is when a team actually backs themselves and they've got that hometown support. Gosh, you're going all the way.
Yeah, they're super well coached. They're the best conditioned team at the comp.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, well,
In the World Cup.
They're straight up.
they're the only team that practices in those conditions all the time.
Yeah, they are looking really dangerous.
We might or might not play them at this
It
stage.
looks like we're going to play them. I can't see them
I'm
losing
keen. I'm
to
actually
Scotland at this
excited
stage.
for that. Atmosphere is going to be electric
It would
wherever
be.
you're watching it.
We
guys.
could get some revenge on them. But anyways, to tomorrow's game, back to tomorrow's game. Canada, we'll probably put 50 past them.
We should comfortably.
As long as we don't get any injuries.
Yeah.
They've rested a couple of the big guys as well. Peter Steph's on the bench, Ballard. Cheslin isn't even in the squad. He took a bit of a knock to his ankle, but he should be fine. Yeah. The Boks are tracking really well at the moment. I feel a lot more confident after that Italian win.
I also
Because
think that
just
they
the
feel
eye of the
confident.
tiger that they had. And when I watched some of the other games, especially the teams that we might face, like Wales and Ireland, I'm not really convinced. I have a feeling both of them are not going to make it past the quarterfinals. I can't see Ireland beating New Zealand, and I can't see them, nor can I see them beating South Africa. And Wales, with that powder puff pack of theirs,
Which have been
I'm not
talked
so
about
sure.
much.
They are probably looking at playing France in the knockouts, in the quarters.
Yeah, and I mean, we also haven't seen the best of France. And in the knockouts,
They've shown glimpses of serious magic, like in small doses, 5-minute periods. But if they get it together for even 15 minutes, they can blow you off the park. 20 minutes of a game.
yeah, the team is a lot better than
Yeah,
they've
because
shown, at least.
they're missing a lot of opportunities. They're not as clinical as they can be. They could have put Tonga away by 30 in that first half, and the game
Yeah.
could have been over.
They could
Well,
have.
unfortunately, a standard rugby game is usually 18 minutes.
Yeah, but it's the
So,
French, eh? We just don't want them
yeah.
coming strong in that last 20,
You know,
dude.
The
I mean,
odds are
it's-
playing like, what? 5 minutes every 10 minutes of greatness. Okay, maybe there.
I mean, I'd love for them to put in a performance like that against New Zealand on their way to the final. It would be great to see.
But they'll be on our side of the
Are they
door,
on our
though.
side?
Yeah, it depends on the England-France
Oh,
result,
yes,
obviously,
yes.
this
So-
weekend.
But yeah, anyway, moving on. So Argentina play the USA on Wednesday,
Shouldn't we
and
get
I
their
think
confidence
yeah,
up again?
should just be a standard Argentina win.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a convincing win. I'm sure they want to go
Yeah.
out with a bang.
Especially
Agree.
because the USA are going to be targeting their last game. I
Yeah.
think they're playing Tonga in the last game.
Yes, and then after that we have Scotland against Russia, which should be another probably bonus point win.
Avoiding
Yeah.
Scotland are just going to grind out the bonus
The
point
bonus
somehow.
point.
That's all they need to do
Yeah,
to keep
I mean,
alive.
the interesting fixture of the day will definitely be the Wales-Fiji. I think Fiji haven't shown their best. I mean, they did put in a good performance against Georgia the other day. But yeah, I think Wales, it will probably be tighter than we're
I think
expecting.
it's going to be a lot tighter. I think if you see a 9-point difference,
There's some history there as well. 2007 when Fiji knocked Wales out. This could be a potential banana skin. And if
Really not
Fiji
that
can
bad.
do it, Australia might sneak into that top spot, and yeah,
Or if they just stop him from getting the bonus.
that would
point.
change everything in the quarterfinal shake-up.
Yeah.
So Friday coming up, we've got Australia against Georgia. I think Australia's going to take that quite comfortably.
Yeah.
Maybe get a little bit of pushback from Georgia, but ultimately it's in the bag for them.
Interested to see how the scrums work out.
Yeah. Again, because the Georgian pack is quite strong.
Yeah, that's where the strength sits.
So maybe a little bit closer, 20 to 30 points, I'd say.
And then Italy, New Zealand on Saturday. We
Yeah.
just played Italy. I mean, I'm happy.
Italy don't have any props, it seems, because 2 of their props went off injured, and then 2 of them got sent off, and banned. They're gonna get hammered.
However, off the back of New Zealand Namibia game, I saw very clearly Namibia played a very hard game. When they could go for those tackles, they did, and actually that puts New Zealand to the test. Just go in with those hard tackles, and if they're watching each other's game tapes here, I think Italy should be paying attention.
Oh man,
I mean, they just need to
Italy's
put them
so-
under pressure.
New
Just-
Zealand are gonna hammer them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will, but I mean,
The only place they actually compete with New Zealand is in the back row, pretty much. And even then,
and then we got a biggie coming up later with France England.
That's it. That's probably the game of this last round.
what
France
is the
versus
group
England, 'cause
decider? So
It is a quarterfinal decider. Whoever wins this game will play the loser of Wales and Australia, or the bottom,
yeah,
the second
bottom
team.
of that group. Yeah.
So it's looking likely that it'll be Australia.
I'm actually going to put a weird call on the board here, and I'm going to say there's going to be another red, and I'm almost confident enough to say that Owen Farrell is probably going to be involved in it.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Interesting
he's
call.
been involved in 2 so
No,
far.
so let's
In
see
the
what-
2 games he started.
That's-
So
history.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
There's
go
the way.
for France to give a solid showing. I think they could win by maybe 5 or 6 points.
really, you're going for a little. Yeah, I don't know.
England
by
aren't as
15.
good as they think they are.
Actually, that would be quite
It's
nice.
hard. I'm not going to say they're not as good. I think that
They're looking fit.
They
They're
are
looking
strong.
fast.
They
They've
just
got a
haven't been
relatively young
tested.
team in there. They're looking good.
I mean, France's team is definitely a team for the next World Cup, I'd say.
yeah, they're strong,
with the
but
players they
England
have.
should win comfortably. Then we're going to
It'll be a good
go
watch.
to
Samoa Island.
again Ireland. Just need to get the 5 points, and that'll probably get them through. It'll
Yeah.
definitely get them through. Then we'll go to the Sunday fixtures, which is the final day of the group stages. It's Namibia versus Canada. Another big game for both teams.
Yeah.
It's these games that I actually look forward to.
Would have been the game they're both targeting.
Exactly. So both teams have rested players in the games against New Zealand and South Africa, where this is the one chance for a win, and it looks
And actually
like
the most equal matched.
yeah. So
I think I'm going to go with the Namibia win here. Eh? I think they've
I
shown a
would
lot
too.
more
I agree.
compared to
actually
Canada. I
agree
mean,
with that.
Canada haven't scored in like 2 of their games now.
I'm thinking Canada. Personally,
Okay, I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go against the grain.
I
Yeah,
feel like
You
Namibia
and
by,
go for Canada to
Namibia
sneak
by
it.
12.
Wow, their pack could do it.
I think Namibia, the physicality they bring is different. I mean, Canada are solid, but they haven't shown anything like they have in previous World Cups.
A lot of these teams haven't, but I think the conditions have dictated a lot. Then we move forward to the USA versus Tonga, another big game both teams would have been targeting. Tonga have looked good, the USA not so well.
Tonga's taking it.
You're going with a Tonga win? I can't go against that either. They're looking really good.
Yeah, I think they've put in the most complete performances out of those bottom tier nations.
Yeah, they've,
You know?
they've been competitive in all their games. In the England
And they've
game,
played 3 top tier nations, and
yeah, the Argentina game, they also,
Yeah.
it was 28-12, and then
they ran
against
France close. I mean, they got the bonus point.
Yeah, 2 points in it.
Yeah.
It was a really tight one, so we're going to go with a little Tonga win comfortably.
Yeah,
Their
probably
pack should be too strong.
maybe not by more than 13, but I'd say they probably they'll just run the USA ragged in the forwards. Just get and go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wales versus Uruguay.
Oh, okay. So shame. Poor Wales haven't. There's not much of a rest for them. There's like 4 days after the Fiji game. Uruguay's coming in super fresh legs. I would say or freshly because I back Uruguay, but I think Wales have got something to prove. So Wales by 13.
I think it's going to be another blowout. They'll bring on. They're obviously going to play their first team against Fiji, and then they'll rest a couple of guys in that game. It might be a bit tighter, but 25 points. They'll get the bonus point.
I don't think they'll
At
try
least.
anything special. I think they'll just get the job done. They probably won't need the bonus point. So
Because you also need to understand that these tier 2 nations like Uruguay are not going to be as fit and
for the entire 80.
I mean the tier 1 nations, because they're just unprofessional, man. They're
And
literally
intensity.
players. They were probably accountants and doctors and shit. So
Farmers.
especially coming now to like the 4th game and the final game, Oaks are going to be a bit tired. You're going to see Wales wanting to come out, put up their hands, try and get into that first team for the quarterfinals. If there are injuries, players are going to have to play their way into the team. So yeah, it's going to be comfortable for Wales, and another blowout. I wouldn't be surprised to see another 0.
Yeah, I mean, well, the last game and probably the biggest game of this round is definitely the Japan-Scotland.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's the decider. Can Japan do it? Finish top of the group and play South Africa in the quarters.
how sexy would that be?
We called it before the World Cup,
in the stars, guys.
but we thought it would be the other way around.
Japan has beaten us before, so
Yeah, 50-50, eh? 1 win each.
I want Japan to take it. I don't want to play Japan.
I have a feeling Scotland are going to win this game.
Oh, that's weird.
I mean,
Even though
I just don't
Japan
see
are
it.
riding the wave.
I think Japan's gonna
look,
push.
Scotland also have, I think it's 3-4 days between games. Yeah.
Yes, they've got a short turnaround.
This is their short turnaround, whereas Japan actually have a whole 8 days.
Yeah.
So
They spread out their game so nicely. Basically, I think the shortest period has been 8 days between any of their games, being host nation. So they're going to come in fresh. If they played anything like they played last week or against Ireland, I can't see them losing to Scotland. But I just think Scotland,
What?
they have it all to play for. This is their World Cup final, in essence. They have to win this game. They have to get a bonus point.
but
If
the
they
same
can't bring up
go-
the intensity,
the same goes for Japan.
Japan.
Look, this is
Japan have even more
you
to
guys
play
can
for than
finish-
Scotland. Scotland's out.
finishing
No,
top
they're
of the
not.
group.
they could still sneak in.
Yeah, they could if they
But
beat
if
If
Japan
they
by more
beat
than
Japan and they...
But
go-
the if
don't give Japan a
statements are
bonus
so
point.
much more than Japan.
I would love Japan to win. And I'm also a little worried. I don't know if I want to
Okay.
play them
Oh,
in the
okay.
quarters.
Is that
That's
where your
that's
feelings
another
coming
angle
from?
on
More
there.
than you feel like Scotland are going to win this
No,
game?
I said even earlier in the World Cup, I'm not going to write Scotland off because this is probably their biggest game for Japan. And they have been targeting this one specifically more than the Ireland one to get out of this pool. So
Look, we can.
it's just such a toss-up, especially because Scotland haven't shown their best either.
They haven't, but at the same time, Japan have been playing out of their
The
socks.
exactly.
We have seen a level of intensity that we didn't expect from them. So I'm going to go with a Japan win, potentially comfortably, but I'm going to go with a relatively mild 8-point
I'm
victory.
going to go with the Scotland win, yeah. And I'm going to go by like 5-7. So Scotland are going to win, but they're not going to qualify. I think Ireland top that group. Japan will get the bonus point and they'll knock Scotland out. Another thing we haven't spoken about is there's been this talk about the typhoon happening this weekend. So Ireland might be
Well,
knocked out.
the only typhoon that could possibly happen is Japan winning, and I think that's about the only
Well,
typhoon we should accept.
if Ireland's game gets rained out,
It looks
then
like they-
get 1 point and Scotland beat Japan, then Scotland and Japan both go through.
Yes, so there's talks of them possibly moving the game because there's this massive typhoon coming in, potentially hitting Shizuoka on Saturday, winds of up to 250 k's an hour.
Jeez.
So either the game's going to get cancelled or they're going to move it to another venue, which might throw in completely different
Either way, this is not the worst thing to happen. Modern technology is amazing. If the game gets
It would
moved,
be epic if Ireland don't make it, dude.
It
And we play
would be.
Scotland.
I would take that.
Even Scotland
yeah,
win
on
the group.
technicalities, it's not.
I don't think
it's
they
not
can,
that
no.
great. But anyway, guys, this is rounding out the podcast now. As you can see, tensions are really high on this side for a multitude of reasons. Some of us are backing Japan. The rest of us maybe don't want to play Japan. But all in all, yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very exciting final round of the group stages. Guys got a lot to play for, and this is where you make the difference.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for tuning in, guys, and leave a comment down below. And yeah, get involved in our polls on Twitter.
We're looking forward to the rugby.
Yeah. And yeah, if you haven't got your Super Brew picks in, I suggest you get them in. Like, you'll get a nice little reminder email about that. But definitely a couple of nice calls out there for this week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good week. Cheers.